Good morning. Today is Monday, June 9th, 2025. A number of years ago, I had an experience with someone suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome. It was over the course of a week. It was very intense. It was terrifying to me in the ways it manifested itself. I was frightened for him, and I was frightened for me. At that time, I knew a little bit about PTSD, enough to know how to act and how to respond, but it was still very, very frightening. Many people suffer from PTSD, especially in Israel, thousands and thousands of people. And the way this illness shows itself is so varied. It's hard for anyone without a personal connection to it to understand it. And since we talk about it a lot, especially within the context of Israel, but of course it applies everywhere, I think it's important to know a little bit more clearly what it is and how it affects a person. And so I found two remarkable pieces that I want to share with you this morning that I think in different ways are very helpful descriptions that can help us be able to understand a bit more and also to be supportive and helpful. So the first is from a woman named Malat Ben Chaim. She is a survivor of the Nova Festival. And like many others, thousands in Israel, she suffers from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And she wrote something a while ago about things I've learned since I have PTSD, and I wish everyone would understand. That's the title. When you go through a severe traumatic experience, the brain actually changes itself. Even when returning to normal situations, the brain interprets things through the lens of the traumatic experience. And so our reactions, anxiety, deep sadness, crying, fear, or paralysis, sometimes seem exaggerated, and it's hard for outsiders not to think we're just being dramatic. Phrases like, "You're in a safe place, there's no reason to be stressed," aren't enough to calm or pull someone out of distress, because our brains have physically changed. Our reactions, however extreme, are completely real and require deeper therapeutic tools than the simple explanations we're used to giving a friend who's anxious or sad. Logic alone will not get us out of it. Our brains have already learned that even in safe places, like home or a music festival, real danger can be experienced. She writes, "Most of the time my brain is busy with the trauma. It makes me impatient. I don't want to be like this, but the truth is that almost every situation overwhelms my brain and heart so much that I don't have the energy to meet or even talk to people. When I'm anxious, I can come across as short, unfriendly, or aggressive. It's not personal against anyone. These are involuntary reactions that stem from a mistaken interpretation of reality that I have no control over. Almost anything will make my brain think I'm in distress, and then I'll either flee, attack, or freeze. Freezing can look like difficulty moving or being unable to speak. It's a horrible feeling because in those moments I feel trapped inside myself. I want to scream a lot of things. I want tissues. I want water. I want a hug. I want to run away. But I'm frozen and terrified. Every time I leave the house, every social encounter, every task requires 5 times more energy from me than before. There are days when answering WhatsApp, showering, or making myself coffee overwhelms me and feels impossible. And on those days, I judge myself harshly, which exhausts me even more. And so a day or a week can go by where I'm in a loop, not leaving the house, not answering, not showering, not even managing to get myself water. And I keep thinking, what's wrong with you? Just get up and get some water. But then another 3 hours pass on the couch, and I have no energy. Over time, I tried to at least learn not to hate myself for it. Now, this is very important. It's important to remember during an extreme reaction, you can't expect to have a productive conversation or learn how to help. It's not recommended to get into a discussion or an argument. If you know someone with PTSD, try to learn how to help them on a trigger-free day so that when the triggers happen, you can function well without asking a lot of questions to the person in distress. And despite all the difficulty, and this is certainly one of the keys and difficult for a lot of people to do, try not to take offense or take anything personally. If I ran away, protect me and make sure I'm in a safe place. If I said something hurtful, try to see it as an expression of distress, not an attempt to hurt. It's hard, but it can save relationships. Sometimes I need people to believe in me and show me that I have the strength to get up. Much more often, I need help not to criticize myself, not to feel so broken. And I always need people to be aware of how sensitive I am and to try to be considerate or at least understand when I react extremely. If you know someone with PTSD, I hope this helps you be there for them. Share so more people can learn about the situation of a third of our country. She's saying that a third of Israelis are suffering from PTSD. I want to share something else, very, very different. It's a Facebook post. It is going around. You may have seen it. If you haven't, you probably will. It's written by a man named Ran Apelberg, who I do not know. I don't know anything about him. I'm going to share just a little bit of what he wrote. Obviously, he lives in Israel and he served in the IDF. I was killed on the 120th day of the war, but I didn't tell anyone. The battles were raging and I didn't want to hurt the guys' morale. At the end of the month, I got leave. My wife Talia picked me up from the train and hugged me tight as if she were drowning in a frozen sea and I was a wooden door. So of course I didn't tell her I was dead. Everything had already fallen on her shoulders these past months. The moment I entered the apartment, Romy, my 4-year-old daughter, came running from the neighbors, jumped on me, and refused to let me go, so I didn't tell her either that Daddy was dead. Why break her heart? It didn't work. My wife stayed distant, or was it me? And when she asked what I'd been through, I stayed silent because there was no reason to bring those horrors into our home. A few days later, I went back to the battlefield, and 2 weeks after that, I saved 5 soldiers from death. At some point, I was sent home, back to normal life, in quotation marks. But between me and it stood a transparent, impassable border, behind which I watched them like a fish in an aquarium, and the world that once excited me turned faded. Until one Saturday, Romy fell in the living room, and she cried, "Daddy!" And I froze, hypnotized by the sight of blood trickling down her forehead, the clear tears dripping from her eyes, the yellowish urine that escaped her. And I thought about how many shades of fluid are in the human body, and remembered Sergei and the bullet he took to the head. That night after we got back from the ER, Talia said I had to get help, that she couldn't reach me, that she was out of strength. But all I heard was blah, blah, blah from someone who doesn't understand how the world works and how bloody and stinking and monstrous it is. Better she doesn't know. But she kept nagging. So I went to the living room and stared at the sidewalk 7 floors down and wanted to jump, because I felt like a foreign body that life had rejected. The window wouldn't open. It turns out the frame was bent by a rocket that fell nearby. So I gave up and went to bed. The next day, Asi, who'd been with me in high school and in the IDF unit, came to see me. It was already noon, so we went to the hummus place, and we were gossiping about this person and that person. At some point, there was silence, and I asked if Talia had asked him to come talk to me. And Asi nodded yes. And Asi said to him, "So why is she worried?" And I answered honestly, it's hard for her to accept that I am dead. Asi wasn't fazed, and he said, "Remember when you died?" "Yes, the day Sergei was shot and killed." Asi said, "That was about 6 months ago." And he said, "And what's the hardest part about being dead?" And I answered that I don't feel anything. May God provide refuah shlema, complete healing. As we say when we make a mishaberat, refuas hanefesh, refuas haguf, a healing of the body and a healing of the soul and a healing of the emotions. And someone with PTSD has all 3 of these and needs tremendous professional care, and also the support of those around them and of us. And so may we have the insight to be supportive in a way that is helpful, and to be understanding by knowing what is involved with PTSD. Refuah shlema. My friends, I wish you a good day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.